the New England Patriots quietly hint at this sleeper. Let's talk about it. My name is Aaron. You know this is Sports Talk Patriots on the daily, putting out content for everyone who loves Patriots football. So do me a favor, hit that subscribe button, like, and comment below. In this video, we're going to be talking about this specific sleeper. We're going to be talking offensive line, specifically with low out, what that is going to look like. As well, we are going to talk about, at the end, predictions when it comes to the 53-man roster. Some things I agree with, some things that I think are going to change, but we still got to play this third preseason game. So let's jump into it. The coaching staff, specifically AVP, Alex Van Pelt, have been talking about this player. Weeks ago, we made a video on this player just because he is crazy talented, has a lot of potential. Now, the past two preseasons, he has not made the 53-man roster out of the gate because he was injured. We were talking about Taquan Thoron. Now, Taquan Thoron apparently has been really turning heads at training camp, and even though when you look at his preseason targets, he has not had a lot, and you could easily argue that his time has passed. But again, the biggest head that has been turning his way has been Van Pelt. Van Pelt has a lot of good things to say about him. Specifically, his ability to separate is special. His speed down the field, his ability to run away from the zone coverage and man coverage, all those things. And he's been really tough at the point, at the catch point this year too. If you remember, I believe it was about a week ago, he actually, I don't know if I want to use the term burn, but beat Christian Gonzalez on a route, made a great catch. Christian Gonzalez, arguably one of the best up-and-coming quarterbacks in the NFL. So when you look at it, yes, this wide receiver core, it's a lot of inexperienced players on that core. We look at Polk, has not played an NFL snap, regular season, that's what I'm saying. Baker, there's been some questions with Baker lately where he's had his targets, but he's had some just awful drops that he should have made. Again, go back to when the Patriots played the Eagles and Drake May threw that dime to him. It was a tougher catch. He had to dive, but again, this is professional football. You should be able to bring that ball in. It would have been beautiful, and I honestly believe Patriots faithful would be even more pumped for Javon Baker after a catch like that. Again, he still has a ton of potential, but I think there's stuff to work on as well. Now, you look at Thornton, and he has all the intangibles. It has just been he hasn't been healthy when it comes to the beginning of the season. Has not been healthy when it comes to the beginning of the season. You bring a new offensive coordinator in there, again, turning his head, being able to see, wow, this guy has experience. So the big question for Thornton is he going to be able to make it through this third game against the Commanders, and he's going to be there week one. Again, it's also, too, how many receivers are they going to keep for the New England Patriots? Let's remember Bourne is PUP, so when it comes down to it, he is going to be coming back. So what's that going to look like? Are they going to keep 6, bring him back, that's 7, and then figure someone else to drop? What is that going to look like? Now, Thornton, again, you look at his stats in the past year, 2 years, my fault. Last year really went down. Now, let's remember last year was a wild year. Quarterback play was not ideal. It's just been up and down offensively for the Patriots. So he had only 13 receptions, 91 total yards. Is what it is. The year before that looked a little more promising, his rookie year. And those numbers, when you look at that, look a little more realistic when it comes to a rookie. Now, second-round pick out of Baylor, a second-round pick, that's usually, hey, you're going to come in and you should be able to produce. I feel like that's what a lot of people, when you think of the draft, you look at the first round, and a lot of times those players are like immediate impact, and then it can kind of go down from there. Not always, obviously. Not always. But I think that he has a great potential, and we're going to jump into it in a minute, but making that 53-man roster, I think if Van Pelt is impressed with him and sees the skills that he has, I think that it's not, again, am I saying he's going to be starting? I don't know. I don't think he's going to be a starter, but I think that he has value to add to this wide receiver team, and I think there's a lot of untapped potential. And I know, again, we have talked about him before, and comment below what you think about the whole situation with Thornton. Do you want him to make the roster? Do you not? What's your thoughts? Again, he's been a heartbreak the past 2 years when it comes to injury and just the offensive efficiency in general. But what do you think about that? So, Taquan Thornton, I'm buying stock. I think it's worth it. If he is dropped, I think he will get picked up. If he doesn't make the roster, again, could be thrown on the practice squad. Who knows? But again, he's a crazy talent. He has that size. When you're a wide receiver and you're above 6 feet, he's I believe 6'2", and you have the speed that he does and that he can get over the top of the defense, you just never know. So, going to be interesting to see. And if the offensive coordinator likes you, that's not a bad thing either. So, that's the first thing. Comment below. What do you think about Thornton? I honestly think it's going to be just and when I say the word quietly, I really think it's just going to be one of those things. He casually makes the team, and he has a huge potential to surprise people this year. So if you're in a dynasty fantasy league, wouldn't be a bad thing to throw him on there. I'm in a sleeper league where they actually have a practice squad, and I am currently trying to trade for him just to put him on my practice squad. I can always take him off, but the teams are like 35 players. They're massive. Anyways, you're like, Aaron, we don't care about your fantasy team. Yeah, I understand that. So next up, Lowe, injured, minor oblique injury. So chances are he's going to be coming back. And so they're making it sound like it's not that crazy of a deal. But then again, we look at not too long ago, they were talking about how they were figuring out contingency plans. So Wolf was talking about, hey, yeah, the reason we had certain players in and switching around on the offensive line is you never know. You want to get players experience, and that's totally understandable. So as of right now, you look at that starting line. At left tackle, you have Okorafor. At left guard, you have Sidy Sow. At center, the veteran Andrews. And then at right guard, this is the big change right here. You have Layden Robinson, who is the rookie from Texas A&M. He's coming in at guard. Now, what's interesting about guard, regardless, at the NFL level, collegiate level, whatever level, obviously you need someone that knows what they're doing, what's going on. Yes, understood. That's where he played at Texas A&M. It should be good. Now, when you're putting younger talent or not as experienced talent on the line, and I'm not saying this is always true, but usually you can hide some flaws in that interior of the line as opposed to the tackle position, if you understand what I'm saying. If you are playing tackle and you have a weakness, it can be blatantly obvious, and it can be exposed really quickly and taken advantage of. So putting almost that inexperienced on the interior line, I'm not saying it's perfect, but I'm saying it's a better option than putting that on the outside of that offensive line in the tackle spot. So him going there, Robinson going there, taking Nwenu and putting him on the right tackle. Now, what's interesting with Nwenu, we've been ripping on this offensive line. Nwenu, I do truly believe he's versatile on the offensive line. He's proven that he can play multiple positions, and I don't think we're giving him. I'm not saying this offensive line is an all-pro from side to side, but I do not think we're giving Nwenu the credit he deserves. I would prefer him at guard, but he can play right tackle. And it's interesting as well that they're in this potential starting line. They don't have Wallace in there instead, and having Nwenu still stay at that guard spot. So they must be thinking on that offensive line, Peters, that, hey, our best case scenario, we have Robinson in there in the interior where he has that collegiate experience. He has that experience. And then Nwenu bumps out because he has played tackle before. So again, Nwenu, ideally interior, but it is what it is. So comment below what you think about that. Again, I've never been sold on Lowe. I personally am a big fan of Wallace just because he was awesome at Penn State. I think it was a great draft pick. And again, the question becomes, yes, you want the best player out in the field. I'm not going to argue that, but this is great experience that he could have if he has that potential to one day start, which I think he does. So comment below, what do you think about the offensive line? I feel like that's one question I'm always asking. And last but not least, we are going to talk quickly. I saw this, the Patriots 53-man roster. coming out of CBS Sports. I thought this was great. So some things I agree with, some things I don't agree with. Quarterbacks, and I'm just going to go fly through this because I think for the most part we are all in agreement on most of this stuff. Brissett, May, Milton, yep. Running backs for the most part. Terrell Jennings, mom, big-time follower of this channel. Hey, I'm pulling for him. I've loved what I've seen from him, so it'll be interesting to see. Originally, a lot of projections only had 3 running backs. This now has 4 with Hasty, so it'll be interesting to see what happens. Again, still 1 game left, and then the big cut is Tuesday before 4 o'clock, which is August 27th. Now, here's the going back to Thornton. You look at these wide receivers. Douglas, yep. Polk, yes. Baker, yes. Osborne, yes. Rager, yes. Boutte, he's impressed me as well in some of these preseason games. He's made some great catches. Again, a lot of potential on that side. And obviously all that gambling stuff, all those different things are now behind him. But again, I think you add 7 and you throw Thornton in there. Again, if when Bourne comes back into the 53-man roster, then it comes into question like, okay, of these guys, which one should we drop? I haven't been a huge fan of Rager just because, I don't know, I think he's older. I think he's a better return guy. Again, it'll be interesting to see how they figure out how they do all this, but I think Thornton is worth it as of right now on the 53-man roster, hoping to see more against the Commanders there. Tight ends, no surprise there. Offensive line, I want to point one other thing out too. When you look at this 53-man projection, the three pickups the Patriots just made, I believe it was Kobe Jones, it was McCarroll, and there's one other guy. It's slipping my mind right now. But all those players, notice, it was it was a wide receiver, Landor, something like that. None of them are on this roster. So again, they could be on the practice squad, of course. McCarroll, I would love to see him on there. Grand Valley State guy. Again, practice squad potential, yes, but none of them are going to make the roster. You look at the defensive line, no surprise here. Tristan Hill, one of the younger guys, awesome to see. And Farms, a lot of potential there. Linebacker core, yep, about right. Heads up for Zinimus. I think he's going to do, I think, surprise a lot of people this year and play up. I think it's be awesome, as well as Keon White. I have been big on Keon White, defensive line, edge rusher, so that'll be fun to see. Cornerbacks, no surprise here. It'll be interesting to see what happens to Dial. I think he's going to end up making the practice squad. That'll probably be a no-brainer. Isaiah Bolden, that athletic player we've talked about when he was drafted, I believe he was the fastest guy in his draft class, so it'll be interesting to see what happens there. Safeties, Hawkins has really come into his own. It's been great to see. But again, we'll see. And then all the way down here, Ryland not making the roster, but Sly kind of sneaking his way in. So I don't know. We'll see. Apparently it's been back and forth with both these guys, with Ryland kind of at the beginning of training camp, people thinking, hey, he was going to take the job, where now Sly has kind of come in, the veteran. And Behringer, my dog, my MSU guy, my Spartan dog, just look for him to be all pro this year as a punter, because he is just ridiculous. Secret weapon. Not really secret, but it's not always great when your all pro has to be a punter and no one else is all pro. But you never know. We'll see. Anyways, this is Sports Talk Patriots. On your way out, please do me a favor. Comment below any of those things I asked you. Comment whether it's on Thornton, the offensive line, even this 53-man roster projection. What do you think? What would you change? What are you surprised of? And as well, on that way out, if you have not already, I'd truly appreciate it. Hit that subscribe button. You guys rock. We'll talk later. Peace.